This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, February 1st, 2006, and this is episode number 56 of Walt Disney World Today. Our panel today includes Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
Shift your cowboy, dearie. Show me your larboard side.
Very nice. Too bad we don't have a female on the show, but yeah.
We wants the redhead.
Who wants the redhead?
And we've...
I'm not sponging for rum. It's gold I'm after. Go ahead.
And we've also got Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
Hey, how's it going, Matt?
Outstanding. And today is Wednesday, so that means it's our listener question show. So if you'd like your questions answered, please feel free to email us. Our email is questions@wdwtoday.com. Just email us and we'll play them for you. Our first question today comes from Beth Young of Orlando, Florida. She must go a long way to go to Disney. Beth writes to us. She has two questions. Thanks so much for consistently providing entertaining and useful information. I had no idea how many great Disney resources were out there until I started listening to Walt Disney World Today. Her first question is, do you have any tips for those of us using after 4 o'clock p.m. passes to Epcot? Frequently our touring plan equals find something to do, plus eat dinner, plus leave before the kids get cranky, and our one thing is often just walking around to enjoy the sidewalk performances. But I wondered if we were missing any good opportunities.
Geez, it sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah.
You mean that's not enough? It sounds like it's not. Now there are a couple of things you can do. One is I don't know how long they go for, but the behind the scenes tours at the Land Pavilion is relatively short, relatively inexpensive, and something fun to do. There are also are they doing like the architectural tours of Epcot still? Matt, Mike?
Don't recall.
You might want to check to see, Beth, what sort of short, like hour or 2 hour tours they do of Epcot. And my third suggestion would be something like a Hidden Mickey's tour that you can get from Steve Barrett's Hidden Mickey's book, where you can go in and pick a particular pavilion and look for Hidden Mickey's.
And probably the amount of time she has to work with is based purely upon also the park hours.
4 to 9. I mean, you got 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
Or if you're going there after work, you've still got 3. I mean, you could probably do one activity there, and eat dinner and then watch fireworks.
Well, Beth also writes, by the way, the best days info on touringplans.com is invaluable. So she's trying to butter you up, Len.
Thank you. We worked very hard on that.
Beth's other question is, what are your favorite responses to the Disney haters that you encounter? The people who think that the Walt Disney World empire is some evil money-making scam that Michael Eisner and company have been corrupting the universe along with Bill Gates and everyone else. Or the people who consider themselves too sophisticated to enjoy anything Disney.
Well, I'd like to comment on that. I think that those people probably have either never been to a Disney theme park or have never been to Walt Disney World, or they have not done it correctly. I can tell you that I have friends who have gone down there and they've done commando touring. They've done one park per day, and the kids are cranky at the end of the day. They spend a lot of money because they didn't do a lot of research. They didn't go to touringplans.com or read the Unofficial Guide or check any of those resources. So if you're not prepared, it's just like any other trip. If you're not prepared, you're bound to have a less than 50% chance of really enjoying yourself. I really think that you have to look at it a different way. You have to look at it as a place to escape, a place to get away from your stress, a place to just relax and not worry that much about, it's a corporate machine trying to squeeze every dime out of me. So I think that it's how you approach it. And the last thing I need to say, and there's a lot of Disney fanatics out there who will understand when I say this, there are just going to be some people who just don't get it. And that's all I have to say.
That's a good point, Mike.
I don't have anything to add to Scopa's comments. I couldn't have said that better.
Our next question comes from Alan of DisneyFans.com. Alan runs a great little website over there, and he also listens to the podcast. He also runs his own podcast called AnotherCrappyPodcast.com. So you can check that out. He sent in 2 questions, and unfortunately we only have time for one of them, Alan. So we're going to answer his second question. It says, I do a lot of park hopping, often starting out in the early morning at Animal Kingdom when it becomes when it opens before the other parks, then hopping over to a main park for the day, then ending up at Epcot late at night for the final hours. How time-consuming is park hopping using Disney transportation? I consider my time in the parks very valuable and expect that walking further from hotel rooms to bus loading plus waiting for buses and then waiting as they stopped at various other pickup locations before finally ending up at the park might take up a lot of time compared to just driving himself.
Yeah, Disney. If you're gonna park hop, and I wouldn't recommend park hopping to more than one park per day. But Alan, if you're an expert, you can probably do this. Disney transportation is only going to allow you to do, I think, one hop per day, because you're looking at roughly an hour of transportation time, realistically, to get from one park to another. When you factor in the walking time, the waiting time, and the readmission time, you're looking at an hour, maybe hour and 10 minutes to get between parks. So realistically, you don't want to do that twice in a day, because you've essentially wasted a sixth of the day, just on Disney buses. But I do like Alan's idea of starting off at one park and ending up in Epcot. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Epcot is like twice the size of the Magic Kingdom. Most of its attractions are engineered for huge capacities. So later in the day, it absorbs crowds better than any other park. So it's always a good choice to hop to Epcot. And plus, it's got a variety of dining options, better than any other theme park. Epcot's rarely a bad choice to hop to. On the other hand, you never want to hop to the Animal Kingdom because it closes earlier than most other parks, and you want to avoid hopping to the park that has extra Magic Hour mornings that day because the crowds would generally be a little bit larger.
Great. Our next question comes from Chris of Tampa, Florida. A lot of Floridians writing in today. Great podcast, thanks. His question is, I live in Tampa, Florida, and I'm debating on whether to buy a season pass or not. I have yet reached the point where I go consistently only when friends want to go, about 5 to 8 times per year. His real question is, are the advantages of a season's pass worth the risk of not getting the money's worth? Mike, I think this might be a good question for you.
Well, the question is, Matt, does he mean season pass or annual pass?
I think he means annual pass by when he says season pass.
If he's going 5 to 8 times a year and he's got an annual pass, he will definitely save on the parking to getting into the parking lot for free. Don't know if that means it's a day drive. I mean, it's like a 75-mile trip, I believe.
I think it's like 45, isn't it, to Tampa?
Is it 45 now? I thought it was 70.
Much.
Okay.
Maybe
well,
it is.
Let's say an hour. Okay.
Okay, it's an hour.
Okay. Let's say it's an hour. If they're thinking about staying overnight, obviously the annual pass gives them a real opportunity to get a discount on a on-property room. I think that the annual pass also gives them, here we go again with this Disney dining experience. I know we keep bringing it up, but I'll tell you, 20% is 20%. And over
that works at counter service restaurants too.
Yes, it does. Not all of them. It's important to keep up with the list. And
yeah, it works in the Animal Kingdom because I got it at that Flame Tree.
Oh, it does.
This weekend I saved like $8 off of my lunch, and a couple other people's lunches. I didn't eat $40 worth of food. So go ahead.
So I think it is worth it, man. I also think that Florida residents get somewhat of a pretty good discount compared to the rest of us. So I think it's a good deal because over the course of a year, if he goes at least 8 times, I got to think it's going to pay for itself somewhere down there.
Yeah, I think
let's just assume he goes 6 times. I mean, 6 times, 67 is what? 360 and 42, $400 right there, plus parking.
It's 50.
And I think six is really your break-even point there, Chris. So if
Yeah.
you're going 6 times or more, annual pass probably helps less than that, and I wouldn't do it.
Not to mention, he could have gone to an Expedition Everest preview on Saturday.
And you could have sold the pin that you got there for $15 on eBay. There you go.
There you go.
We've also been getting a lot of listener comments rather than questions, and I'm going to try to work some of them into these shows. I encourage that all of our users, when you have comments, post them on on our website in the comment section for each episode, because a lot of you write some great comments, and we unfortunately don't have enough time to read all of them. So if you've got some, please feel free to post those there so that way everyone can read them. Our first comment comes from Robert Springle, who's the Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions for the Rosen College of Hospitality and Management at the University of Central Florida.
Ooh, a great program.
And
I
Robert
hope it
writes
says something nice about us. Robert, go ahead.
Well,
they're really good. I've
yeah,
talked to those guys before. Go ahead.
better not read this email anymore. No.
Yeah.
Robert writes, guys, good morning from Orlando. I was listening to episode 30 this morning. Clearly my iPod shuffle function works. I listened to episode 33 and 34 over the weekend and wanted to follow up on a question you had. I run the recruiting and admissions office at I want to say it's Rosen College, and I believe someone emailed me later and corrected me on the pronunciation. Maybe it's Rosen College.
I think it's Rosen, but go ahead.
Rosen, yep. The Hospitality College of University of Central Florida, located on Universal Boulevard, just north of the Beach Line Expressway. Thanks to Len for the plug. In addition to the college program, the founder of which is on our faculty, Disney also offers lodging management and event management internships program exclusively to Central Florida college students. Rosen College students tend to do those or straight part-time jobs at Disney rather than college program. Our students are required to do at least 800 hours of paid work in the broad field of hospitality. As you all mentioned, college program tends to focus on basic ride operations, guest service, and retail parts of the parks and resort properties. Disney also makes housing available to college program students in Little Lake Bryan near the Orlando Premium Outlets. Thanks, and keep up the great work, Rob Springle. So that was just, we had a comment that someone had wrote in about the college program, and Rob wanted to clear some things up because I believe you, Len, mentioned about that the University of Central Florida offers something similar.
Yeah, Rob is at UCF. It's they've got a great hospitality and tourism program. I've talked to a couple of the professors before about stuff, and they're more than willing to take phone calls from wacky researchers with harebrained ideas and insane questions.
But we won't mention any names.
But enough about me. Yeah, they're a pretty good group over there, and certainly with their location, it's got to be them in Vegas in terms of hospitality. I couldn't think of many other places that are so well situated for that kind of research. So.
Our next comment comes from Robert Scott, who writes, I have a comment to make about episode 36 when a listener asked about an underground trip at the Magic Kingdom. One of the guests on the show mentioned that they didn't take the trip anymore through the Utilidors. He said that he took the trip in 2003. I visited Walt Disney World in September of 2004 and did the Key to the Kingdom tour. Yeah. Our tour guide did take us into the Utilidors. We had to wear a special security badge. Quite frankly, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know what the fascination is with it. I felt like I needed to clock in and go to work. But I can't say that I thought it was fascinating how cast members find their way around. So that's Robert's comment to us.
Yeah, apparently they do it most of the time. I don't know what happened on my tour. Maybe I didn't get the security clearance, but I think most of the time they do the Utilidor viewing on the tours.
We've got a lot of comments from Michael Grabenstein, who I have to thank for sending in his comments. He sends us one almost every episode about clarifying some things we may have missed. And Michael's sent in a lot of them, and I wish I could, like I said, Michael, you really should post these a lot on the on our website comment section so that everyone can really take advantage of them. But one of the comments that he writes in is about someone who had a cycling question. And he writes in, I listened to the reply. Refresher questions came to me as to what type of rider I am. Basically, I am a C+ rider, which means far from lanced. I ride primarily two ways, solo or with class C+ riders with my kids. So looking for a loop 15 miles long, something that would take an hour to complete, probably would ride in the morning before the kids are awake. Prefer road, car traffic is okay, naturally fewer lights, the better. Or maybe a 5 to 8 mile loop I could repeat. He also goes on to say that I'm also planning on having my kids and their bikes something much shorter, like 3 to 5 miles. It would be great to hear of a route that would have very little traffic or was all on one path. So obviously Michael is a cycler, cyclist rather, much like someone who had wrote in before about that.
Yeah, so if any of our listeners know of a decent place to do for a bike ride in Disney World, yeah, send us a note. Preferably not on a main road like a World Drive or anything like that. But
I'm thinking Fort Wilderness. Why not? Why not start
Fort Wilderness, there? I think actually that's where they hold the triathlon, right?
I
think last year was it there? Last year or the year before was around Fort Wilderness, where you essentially do a loop around the campgrounds. Yeah.
Great. Our next comment comes from, as I pull it up very quickly here, Just a second.
Hills are alive, sound, music.
Now a word from Pop Century.
Nothing says romance like Disney's Pop Century Resort.
Nothing says bicycling. Nothing says bicycling.
Nothing says bicycling like Disney's Pop Century Resort.
Our next comment comes from our favorite listener, Rich from Youngstown, Ohio.
Rich!
Who writes, hey guys, I just returned from a fantastic, though rather chilly visit to Walt Disney World and wanted to thank all of you for the great advice you've given your listeners over the past several months. Your show allowed me to take full advantage of all the good things Walt Disney World has to offer and to avoid some of the less magical elements. I'm looking forward to more great shows that'll help me plan my next trip. So that's from Rich from Youngstown.
We love you, Rich.
Thank you.
Our next question, or comment perhaps, comes from Dave in New Jersey, who writes, hi guys, love listening to your podcast. 2 questions. I am a Disney Vacation Club member. Any thoughts about the next location after Saratoga, Contemporary, Animal Kingdom, California?
Contemporary is what I hear, but my understanding is that the long-term strategy is to have some DVC at every resort, so people who love a particular resort can put their money where their mouth is.
That's right.
I would not be surprised with that at all.
And
You look at some buildings like with the Contemporary, you can take one of the garden wings and make it DVC. At the Poly, you can take a couple of buildings and make those DVC. I think most of the resorts are set up fairly well for DVC ownership. I mean, at Coronado Springs, you can pick a building like one of the Ranchos or the Cabanas and do that. So I think it's a strategy that you're going to see more and more. And that's not bad. I mean, it's not bad at all.
Dave's next question is also, I see the pictures of all these people that attend Mouse Fest. Are these full-time jobs for these folks? Do they really make a decent living, or is it all about something they love, Disney? I'm not the IRS, just curious.
The question is, is this about people behind the tables or in front of the tables?
I would think behind the tables.
Behind the tables.
Yeah, I think for most people it is not a full-time job. For a couple of people it is. I think Mary Waring is a full-time job for her. Bob Selinger, obviously full-time job, and I think that's it. And, the Marks people, the Passporter people, obviously.
I know that I blow most of my vacation time on Disney-related endeavors, so it just comes down to where your priorities are.
Maybe Kelly Monahan from Intrepid Traveler.
Yeah, Kelly. Anybody who's actually got their name on a book or is publishing a book, probably close to a full-time job for them. I don't know about Kara Goldsberry though.
Kara's a travel agent, I believe.
Yeah. So no, but for most of us, we have day jobs. I mean, I don't think publishing pays that well.
Our next question comes from Scott from Daytona Beach, Florida. Hey guys, love the podcast. My girlfriend and I are celebrating our anniversary coming up soon and have a difficult time deciding on which restaurant to go to. It's a toss-up between Citrico's, Artist Point, and California Grill. What do you guys think? I guess he was going for romantic.
Well,
Citrico's, Artist Point,
California Grill.
Boy, that's a tough one.
You know, Citrico's had this really good banana cheesecake when I was there. I mean, it was fabulous. And I think I liked it better than California Grill. My brother had his wedding reception there, and it was a small, informal affair. But
well, that's tough.
I haven't eaten at Artist Point, but I hear wonderful things about it.
I haven't eaten there in almost 10 years. I'd say in terms of, if you're looking for romance.
Yeah, Citrico's is a little loud and noisy, but I like it better than California Grill.
Artist Point maybe. There are some really nice spots in Artist Point.
I think that's going to be quieter if you're looking for a romance. If you're looking to put the moves on your sweetie, Scott. I'm thinking. Yeah, you know, I haven't eaten there, though, so I can't really recommend it. I don't know anything about it.
It's been a long time. Last time I ate at Artist Point, they had breakfast with Pocahontas.
Oh, jeez.
A long time ago.
You gotta make a choice to go about it. But Scott, I would. It'd be interesting what our listeners say about this. My guess is it's gotta be between Citrico's and Artist Point. I don't think California Grill is quite the right.
Isn't Artist Point? I get the sense that Artist Point is a poor man's Victoria and Albert's.
Maybe.
No, I think it's no.
You want to say so?
Citrico's is more expensive.
Yeah, Citrico's I think is the poor man's Victoria and Albert's. I'll go along with that.
Narcoossee's maybe too.
Or Narcoossee's maybe, yeah. But actually, Narcoossee's might not be a bad idea.
So let's be decisive and pick one for Scott.
Narcoossee's.
How about one that was on his list?
Oh,
Well, we know it's not California Girl, Scott, so we've eliminated one choice for you.
boy.
I'll go for Artist Point. That's my vote.
Have you eaten there?
No, but I've heard some good things from someone who.
You can't.
I know, but I've got to go on my friend's taste over there.
If I wanted to,
Well, tell you what. Tell you what, I'll send this off to the people who do the food reviews for the guide, and I'll see what they say.
I'm going to say Artist Point, just because if I wanted a romantic dinner and it was between Citrico's and Artist Point, I think I'd go to Artist Point because there's so much you can do afterwards. The lobby, going out in the back to look at, the geyser or whatever. So I think that.
Oh yeah, there's more places to make out at Wilderness Lodge. It's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. spoken like a true Italian gentleman.
Sounds like a new show idea. Places to make out at Disney World.
Places to make out in Walt Disney World.
Nothing says romance.
Nothing.
Like the generation difference.
Well, that's it for us today. This has been episode number 55 of Walt Disney World Today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your own comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us your questions at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.